Okay, so this is Albert Einstein, and he said, the world we have created is a process of our thinking. The world as we have created is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. And then Rumi said, I'm going to share a different window, so let's see if I can make this work. He said this, which I thought was interesting in different people, different lives, different orientations, different eras on the planet. And Rumi said, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. And I wanted to share these with you to start our practice this morning because we are here for that internal process where our perspectives, our understandings, our insights, and then therefore our thoughts and our actions, they do change by the practice of yoga. And some people asked me yesterday about the connection between, well, when you're changing something at the mental level, what about the somatics? What is the contribution for the body? And in yoga, we say that the annamaya kosha, the physical body, that's this thing that we live in, is the most dense and therefore the least likely to change. But it's informed by less dense structures that are more powerful, like the pranamaya kosha, the vitality body, is considered less dense, more subtle, but for that reason also more powerful. So when we change the pranamaya kosha, we influence the annamaya kosha. And then deeper than the pranamaya kosha is the manomaya kosha, the mind body, the senses body. And most of you know I'm wearing these concussion glasses because my eyes, as one of the sense organs, are really sensitive since my accident and my concussion. So this places a filter between the light and my eyes from the computer. And most of the time in daily life, we don't realize that we're walking about with filters that filter our senses and our thinking based on our past. So we've made these filters. We aren't aware that we've done it because it's subconscious, neurological, somatic, and often it's what we call pre-verbal. So it doesn't have to involve your verbal structures at all. It may not even involve your language center. So that happens in the somatic, neurological, sensory realm. And what we're doing when we practice asana and pranayama is updating how this organism experiences that. And then deeper than the manomaya kosha is this thing we call vijnanamaya kosha, the inner realm of wisdom and insight. And so we touch that, and then it informs from the inside out. It informs our senses, our minds, our vitality, and then the physical structure of the body. So we're working at this outward to inward, and this inward to outward process. It is a pulsation in both directions. So that being said, now we will sit together for a few moments of meditation, and we'll use pranayama in the form of kriyas to get ourselves going. And then we'll see how the inner perceptions, the inner view is transformed by the practice. So please take a comfortable seat, an upright seat. You can rest your hands in your lap. Let your eyes close. Only for the purpose of bringing your senses inward. Don't close your eyes for the purpose of removing yourself from the world at large, but to re-inhabit. So the senses are more often pulled outwards by distraction and habit. And during your yoga practice, you can now draw your senses inward. This is an early morning practice, so perhaps your senses haven't wandered that too far from home just yet. So it's easier to call them back home. And when you sense you're drawing your ears, your eyes, the sense of touch, smell, taste, you're drawing that inward. Remind yourself it's for the purpose of gaining a deeper understanding. And then having that inner wisdom inform your senses, inform your thoughts, and then inform your vitality, and then it will inform the physical body. Please join your hands together at your heart. We'll chant the Gayatri mantra. Om Bhurvubhuva Suvah Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayata. Om Bhurvubhuva Suvah Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayata. Now we'll put two lines together for the chant. Om Bhurvubhuva Suvah Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimoi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayata. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. Please open your eyes. I'm going to scooch back away from the computer so I can take these off and also not hit the computer. We're going to do some seated pranayama. So when you scoot back, if you've done that, so you won't hit your own computer, just check that you have room in front of you to bow forward and that you have that around to the sides also. And then we're going to begin. Place one hand on the solar plexus here and imagine that there's a large birthday candle about 1 arm length to your fingertip like this. We're going to be blowing out through the mouth. And I want this to be very strong at the solar plexus. You can follow my pace. It goes like this. Exhale completely. Now close the lips, inhale through your nose, lower, middle, and upper. Hold the breath at the top. Exhale through a tiny cocktail straw of the lips. Let the next inhale be simple. We're going to repeat that. So you just take like a sip of an inhale, a small inhale, then we'll begin together. Inhale through the nose. Hold the inhale at the top. Like a tiny cocktail straw, exhale. Allow the next inhale just to blossom into the body. Place your hands on your shoulders. We're going to be going side to side briskly, and we'll exhale. This is like Kapalabhati. You can follow my pace if possible. Through the nose. Come to center, exhale completely. Inhale through the nose, fill the torso completely, hold the breath at the top. Exhale through the nose. Place your hands and repeat. Exhale completely through the nose. Inhale deliberately, lower, middle, and upward. Hold the breath at the top. Exhale through the nose. Walk your hands forward and come into a forward bend from sitting. You do not need to go extremely far forward, just as far as your body allows you to. Using the Ujjayi breath, inhale through the nose and into the back hemisphere of your body, including the upper back. Hold the breath for a moment at the top of your inhale. And then exhale like a tiny cocktail straw. And you're going to be increasing the tone of the deep low belly as you exhale slowly, slowly, using the small opening of the cocktail straw. When your exhale is complete and the belly most toned, pause just for a moment and then allow the next inhale to blossom into your body. Exhale. And then one more time, please inhale, Ujjayi inhale, stretch out the back hemisphere of your body. Let the breath act like a parachute to the upper back as well. Hold the breath for a moment at the top. And exhale like a tiny cocktail straw. Let the next inhale blossom into the body. And then walk your hands back towards your knees and please rise up to sitting and just take notice now what access you might have to a quieter mental habit mind, the mental Ferris wheel of the mind. When that quiets, a little bit of access into the deeper regions of your own wisdom, which is a wisdom larger than you and not owned by you. And then please come up to standing. And Alice, I did make you a co-host, so you can switch my camera for me, please. And when we come up to standing, let me make sure I'm not tangled here. You're going to take a stance just as wide as the yoga mat, please. Turn your toes slightly out, so that's called horse stance. You can bend your knees. And you're going to be sitting down just very slightly. I'm going to make my camera a little bit taller. And my head won't be cut off, I hope. Okay, we'll see how that works. So when you're in horse stance here this morning and you bend the knees a little bit, then I want you just to have a sense you're sitting down into the pelvis. And we're going to swing the arms back on the inhale and forward on the exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the arms swing until they're still. Now I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath in, straighten your legs, raise your arms. Make the feet parallel. And then as you exhale, come forward using the Ujjayi exhale. Come down to a ragdoll uttanasana. Use your Ujjayi inhale to breathe in through the nose. Make a parachute of the back of the body. And then Ujjayi exhale out through the nose. And inhale, make a big circle of the arms. Rise up, lift your gaze. And then exhale, hands to the heart. Now we're going to step into surya namaskar. So please step to the front of your mat using 2 blocks for uttanasana this morning because we're going to be exploring how the deep low belly helps the end of the exhalation. Right. So join your hands together, please. And come into the sound of the Ujjayi breath for yourself, where you can sense it moving up the front line of the spine and also caressing the back of the throat. Okay, inhale, sweep your arms up, vasistasana. Exhale, sit down to chair pose. And in chair pose, tone the deep low belly. We don't have as much spinal flexion in chair pose. We will in uttanasana. Then inhale, rise up, vasistasana. Lift your gaze and look up. And now as you exhale, tone your inner arches, inner thighs, come forward and down to Uttanasana and make a special effort at the very base of the exhale to lift the skin just above your pubic bone. Then inhale, glide your heart forward. Release that tone smoothly. Try it again. Exhale, bow towards the legs, and at the end of the exhale, press into your hands. Tone the deep low belly just above your pubic bone. Release that smoothly and inhale to glide forward. Okay, exhale, take a step back with your left foot. This is your crescent lunge. Inhale, rise up. Look up, please. And then exhale, pull the elbows down. Keep your gaze up, throat open. Inhale, gaze forward, arms up. Exhale, look up, elbows down. Inhale, gaze forward, arms up. Ujjayi, exhale, gaze up, elbows down. Breathe in. Once more, breathe out. Inhale to rise. Now exhale, sweep your arms wide, reach your arms back towards your back heel, gaze towards your back toes. Then inhale, let the torso float up like a little parachute. And exhale, deeply bow over your right leg. Keep reaching back, gazing back, tone the low belly. Then touch the two blocks and inhale, step forward, please. Exhale, take your right toes back. Inhale, rise up, remembering that your practice, we are trying to move from the Annamaya to the Pranayama to the Manomaya and into the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And inevitably, then back to Anandamaya Kosha. So move smoothly as you exhale, the elbows come down, open your chest, heart, and throat. Inhale, gaze forward, broaden your upper back, the back of your heart. Exhale, pull the elbows down, squeeze into the upper back, lift the front of your heart. Inhale, raise your arms, gaze forward. Twice more, exhale. Inhale. And then exhale again, last one. Now inhale to reach upwards. And as you exhale, sweep the arms wide, come over your left leg and gaze towards your right toes. On the inhale, try to imagine the back of the body filling out like a parachute. Even your arms are involved. And then exhale to bow more deeply over your left leg, not resting on it, but squeeze the low belly. And then touch the two blocks and inhale, step your right foot forward. Glide your heart forward. Exhale for a deep bow towards your legs and pay special attention to the base of the belly. Inhale, rise up, vasistasana. And exhale, Anjali Mudra, pay close attention to the base of the belly. Again, now we're going to change the sequence a little bit. Inhale to go up. On this exhale, come down to chair pose where you're sitting much more deeply. Take your hips back, reach your arms forward so your torso may be touching your thighs right there. Then inhale to lengthen the back hemisphere of your body. And exhale, sense the closing of your torso to your thighs and the tone of the deep low belly. Now place your hands on your blocks and slowly migrate to Uttanasana. Okay, inhale, bend your knees, reach your arms forward. This is a variation of chair pose. And exhale, migrate to your Uttanasana. Inhale, bend your knees, glide your arms forward. And exhale, migrate to Uttanasana. One more time. Inhale, bend your knees, arms forward. And last one, exhale, Uttanasana. Energize your legs. Inhale, rise up, vasistasana. And exhale, hands to the heart. Now drop your mind down into the low belly and just ask, what's resolving? What is releasing? Because the physical body holds longer, even our mental habits are in the physical body. When we release something from the physical body, we are releasing it even more deeply from the mind. Now we're going to put anjaneyasana in here, and we're going to use downward dog pose as well. So inhale, vasistasana, reach up. And exhale, chair pose variation. So come down where the torso is touching your thighs. Breathe in. Exhale for your Uttanasana variation here, moving down. Then inhale, glide your heart forward. Keep your heels grounded. Step your left toes back, bring your left knee down to the floor. This is for anjaneyasana. There's your exhale, so the chest and the thigh are touching. And then inhale, tailbone down, arms wide, raise up. Okay, this time on the exhale, cross your elbows so your hands go to the opposite shoulder. So it's a cross on the backside like this. And then inhale, do your best to lift up and look up. Press your head back into your wrists or your hands. Notice the openness of the low belly. Encourage the openness to go upwards to the heart also. Now you're lifting up, even let both elbows lift, though you have your hand on the opposite shoulder. You're doing great. Now we're going to take this up with both arms and open the throat too. So inhale, raise your arms, open your throat, look up. And then exhale, and when you come down, let the torso touch your right thigh, not collapsing on it. Place both hands on the blocks. Now keeping your right thigh and your torso in contact as long as you can, straighten your right leg towards parsvottanasana. And then exhale, bend your right knee to the base pose of anjaneyasana. Keep your torso and thigh touching. Inhale, straighten your right leg, any amount, but keep your chest and thigh touching as best as you can. Exhale, bend your right knee. We're coming to the base pose of anjaneyasana. The left knee can touch the floor. Inhale, parsvottanasana. Kind of moving like a water bird. Go smoothly. And once more, exhale to anjaneyasana. Just the base of the pose. Now, as you inhale, straighten your left leg, press into both blocks, and then pick up your right foot and glide your right leg back to one-legged dog pose. And then lower it down next to your left foot for regular dog pose. Inhale forward to plank pose. You're on the blocks. Exhale, touch your knees down, come to cow pose. Inhale, roll up, upward facing dog pose. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward facing dog. Now for the other side, step your left foot forward, touch your right knee down. Inhale, roll up, anjaneyasana. Change the cross of your wrists here, so the other hand is behind. And as you're pulling upwards, open the low belly. Imagine clearing the deep low belly, then lifting upwards to the third chakra, mid-torso, then up into the heart. And you can press your head back into your hands to encourage the back bend of your thoracic spine and your neck as well. Of course, you have a limitation with the hands at the back of the head, but we're about to free this up. So with your next inhale, raise both arms, look up, open your throat, lift your gaze. And then exhale and come forward, place both hands on your blocks, and let this flexion of the torso and the thigh help with your exhale. And then inhale, glide your left leg towards straight, raise both hips. And exhale to the base of anjaneyasana. Keep your torso and your thigh touching. Inhale, parsvottanasana, just a variation. Keep the thigh and the torso touching. Exhale. Inhale. Of course, at your own pace. We're going to exhale to the base of anjaneyasana. Press firmly into your hands and arms so you're using the low belly a little bit more. And once more, inhale, glide back with both hips. Now stabilize your hands and your arms. And then exhale, bend your left knee just to the base of a crescent lunge. Pick up your left foot and glide back to one-legged dog pose. And then place your left foot down next to your right foot. And inhale, come forward to plank pose, gaze down between your thumbs. Exhale, touch your knees down, come to cow pose. Then inhale, roll through to upward facing dog pose. Nice job. Good to see you. And then exhale, plank pose. And inhale, downward facing dog pose. Exhale completely. Inhale. And then step your awkward foot forward first, and then your second foot forward. Enjoy a deep bow towards the legs in Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale your hands to your heart. And now I'm going to change your sequence slightly. So inhale, raise the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, chair pose variation, come way down and touch your chest and thighs towards each other. Inhale. And then this variation, as we migrate to Uttanasana, press firmly into both hands on the blocks. Okay, inhale, glide your heart forward. Exhale, left toes back, anjaneyasana. Interlace your fingers. Inhale, roll up, anjaneyasana. So here the knuckles can slide down your back thigh a little bit if you'd like to have support there. Roll both shoulders back, open your throat, lift your heart and your gaze. Just imagine what you're clearing out from the body, starting in the low belly, in the pelvis, mid-belly, solar plexus, the heart, your throat, your eyes. And then exhale and glide forward. Touch the two blocks with your hands. Inhale, straighten both legs, parsvottanasana variation. And then exhale, bend your right knee to the base of your crescent lunge. And here comes a little change in your sequence. Here we're going to inhale and step back to one-legged dog pose. Raise your right leg high. And then exhale, right knee forward in plank pose. Inhale, one-legged dog pose. Raise your right leg high. Exhale, right knee forward, plank pose. Inhale, raise your right leg high, one-legged dog pose. Now exhale, glide your right knee forward, plank pose. And then inhale, raise your right leg high. And here's another change in your sequence. Exhale, come forward, knee to chest, plank pose. Now step your right foot under your pose to the left side of your mat. Come to the outer edge of your left foot, please. Turn your back heel down, left foot down, and open. This is a variation on side plank pose and a variation on triangle pose. So the back foot went down to the floor there. So your left heel should feel like a support to you, as well as your right hand and right arm. And then exhale, lower your left hand to the block. Try doing that without changing your legs. You have to stretch the upper back and the heart. Then pivot your left heel up and step your right foot back to plank. And inhale, reach high to downward facing dog pose. Let's do the other side of the sequence. Step your left foot forward, touch your right knee down, reach back to interlace your fingers. Anjaneyasana. Roll the shoulders back, but also go up. So upward through the inner body. Open your throat, lift your gaze. And imagine what you're clearing out. Right, it's deep low belly, second chakra, third chakra, all the way up to the eyes and to the mind. And then exhale and release your hands to the two blocks. Press firmly down there and go once to parsvottanasana, this variation on parsvottanasana. And then bend your left knee to the base of your crescent lunge. And see what you can do here to pick up the left foot without scraping it on the yoga mat. And then rise to one-legged dog pose. Okay, exhale, left knee to your chest, plank pose. And then inhale, rise to one-legged dog pose. Exhale, left knee to your chest. Keep the right leg strong. Inhale to rise, one-legged dog. Exhale, forward, left knee to your chest. Inhale to rise. And here comes this change of sequence. So bring your left knee forward and then step it under, come to the outside edge of your left foot. Rotate your right heel down and rise up to this variation, like a variation of triangle pose and side plank pose. Notice what's required for you to be steady and to do something a little bit unfamiliar. Keep the left arm strong and your right heel and right inner thigh strong. And then bring your right hand down. Try to just bring your hand down. So you have to move from the upper back to return to the block. Then pivot your right heel up, step your left foot back, plank pose. And then your downward facing dog pose with your two blocks, please. And inhale, roll forward to plank. Exhale to cow pose, so touch your knees down, bring your heart forward, and then glide the heart through to upward facing dog. You can choose to keep the knees down if you want to. We'll call that seal pose. Otherwise, upward facing dog. Press the tops of the feet down. Hug the feet towards each other so the inner thighs are stronger. Open the front body. Raise your chin. Open your throat. And then exhale, plank. Inhale, downward facing dog. And awkward foot forward first. Second foot forward. Uttanasana. Energize your legs. Inhale to rise. Upward hand pose. Then exhale to the heart. Let yourself stand really still in mountain pose. Imagine what happens for you when the Annamaya kosha, the physical body, the dense body, is a little less dense. It's holding a little bit less baggage, can I say? Pranayama kosha, a little bit more vibrant. The mind and the senses more fresh in the present moment. Oriented inward. And sense traveling to the Vijnanamaya kosha, your innermost wisdom, which is larger than you are and not owned by you. You may release your hands. And please reach for your two blankets. And I'm going to ask you to fold them as these ones have been folded. These ones got a little bit disrupted, so I'm going to firm it up. And I'd like you to take them lengthwise down your mat, like this, one on top of the other. And I'm putting the firm edges like this together here, rather than the tasseled edges. And then you can sit down. Cross your ankles. Maybe put the blocks if you feel like that's going to support your pose to be stable. Take your hands out over your knees. So you're sitting on these narrow blankets purposely The sitting bones might be just to the side edges of the blankets. And just notice what feeling tone you have in the belly. What is the sense of the breath? Like, how welcome does it feel into this low region of your abdomen? What is the experience you have with your exhale? Don't have to make a powerful breath right now, just noticing your resting breath. Now cross your left hand to your right knee. Walk your right hand to the blanket behind you. If possible, hold the back edge of the blanket because that gives your fingers a place to be more firm for your twist. Twist to your right. Now I'm going to ask you to come back to the Ujjayi breath here in this twist. And when you're twisting with Ujjayi, try to sense the purpose of the end of the exhale is a little bit like squeezing a sponge. And then you let the sponge rehydrate slowly. In this case, you squeeze the low belly towards the end of the exhale, and then there's a slow transition to the next inhale. And keeping your twist to the right and your left hand where you need it to be on your right thigh, walk your right hand back about 5 or 6 inches. So your pose now has a slightly backwards side bending twisting function. Use the tone of the exhale at the back of the belly where the sacrum is. Try to sense a connection energetically there. Walk your right hand back another 4 or 5 inches. You might be noticing that the twist of the upper back gets easier and the attention you need for the lower belly and pelvis has to increase because you're likely to destabilize the left sitting bone. So just take notice of that while you open the right shoulder. And walk your right hand a couple inches further back. You're probably near the back of your blanket now. And then using your belly strength, exhale, roll yourself up to where you were sitting. And please change your ankles. So the other ankle gets to be on the outside. Maybe it's your awkward ankle cross. And take your right hand to your left knee, left hand behind you. Make the spine upwards, upright. And use the Ujjayi breath. So I want you to deliberately sense you're kind of allowing this expansion on the inhale and you're deliberately toning on the exhale. As you're moving through the breath here, walk your left hand back 4 to 5 inches on your blanket. Roll your left shoulder back like a little back bend, even though you've added this tilt backwards, which adds a side bend. Roll the left shoulder back like you might in cobra pose. And walk your left hand another 4 or 5 inches back. Roll your left shoulder back, so there's a feeling of back bend in the upper left chest, but continue to squeeze the low belly during the exhale. And there ought to be a connection from the right sitting bone down, and then this inward diagonal, like a barber pole, going up to your left shoulder. And walk back a couple inches more. So the upper chest is like back bending, but the low belly is more like forward bending, right? There's flexion in the lumbar spine so that you're not overarching your lower back. It's not rounded like cat pose, but it's not arched like upward facing dog pose either. And then use your low belly strength to exhale, unwind, and bring yourself up and forward. And now notice in your resting breath, any greater ease to just see the inhale and the exhale coming and going. You reach back and interlace your fingers, roll your shoulders back. Place your knuckles on the blankets. Be kind to your hands. However you have to place the knuckles is fine. Raise up through your heart. Keep the arms strong. Lift your collarbones. Open your throat. And then inhale upright. Keep the hands clasped and exhale to bow forward. When you raise the arms up overhead, invite your neck to have some traction here. We're going to inhale and roll upright towards the back bend. Touch your knuckles to the blanket. Lift your heart. Open your throat. Lift your gaze. And exhale. Use the low belly to roll forward, to bow forward. Inhale to glide upwards. And exhale to bow forward. And roll up to sitting, please. And you can sit just forward of these two blankets or turn sideways on your blankets. The choice to make there is based on when you sit in Upavisthakonasana. Do you sit comfortably on the floor, which you can see that I do. So I don't need a blanket, but you might need a blanket or two under the hips. And we're going to walk forward. Now, for some of you walking forward, it might make more sense to place your elbows on the blocks like this, or even down on the next. And for others, you reach the floor comfortably with your elbows so you can come down like this. Invite your head to bow gently towards your heart. And consider even just like one thought habit that you sense. If Albert Einstein were speaking to you, he said, the world as we have created, it is a reflection of the outcome of our thinking. So change requires us to change our thinking. Just consider one thought you might be willing to update. You could think of one thought category like the mental habit of judgment or urgency or apathy, the mental habit of becoming self-preoccupied or self-denying. And just imagine that thought habit or that specific thought, if it were to leave the body, the fabric of the body, then what is available to you in terms of vitality, in terms of your senses being less burdened by that thought or that sort of thought category? And sensing that, you can walk your hands back towards your hips, rise up to sitting. And now I'm going to ask you to use the two blankets for Baddha Konasana. So I'm going to sit in front of my two blankets. You can do the same. Sit far enough in front of the blankets that when you lie backwards, the blankets support your spine and you reach up under your head to pick up the blanket only under the head and curl it. So it makes this little inchworm. And then we put the blocks, however tall your blocks need to be, to support your spine, to feel at ease. If the blocks are too low, the knees will tend to pull and the lumbar spine will feel that. You can also think, what do my inner thighs need for being at ease? And where does that, what height is there for the inner thighs to relax? So this pose is not an inner thigh stretch. It's actually a restorative pose, not a stretching pose. And this particular restorative pose is considered beneficial for digestion and elimination, called Supta Baddha Konasana. If you'd like, you can also cover with a blanket. And you can use your eye pillow if you want. And let's consider what happens when you allow that thought now to be digested. So that when we say digestion, there is a process at the end of digestion called elimination. So let's imagine that process is not just for food, but it's also for thoughts, for thinking habits, mental habits. What might be the outcome if your body were less burdened by this particular thought habit or this specific thought? Let the medicine of your practice sink in to do its work, its process. You aren't doing it now, it is doing you, as we say. Your only consideration is welcoming this thought habit or this specific thought to be digested, resolved. And then it goes to the stage of elimination as the final part of digestion. And let your mind habits remain very quiet, not intruding on your shavasana. Invite your body to become more deeply relaxed. And stay with the process of resolving, allowing the dissolution of the body become even heavier with relaxation. Your senses even more inward. We're going to rest for another minute or so. Let it go deeply. Now becoming just quietly aware, the restful state you can drop into in your shavasana. And aware of your physical body, the outermost body, like the skin of the body, the places where you're connected to the ground beneath you. This is called the dense body. And then inward to that, sense the prana body, that which brings your ojas forward. It breathes you, responsible for innervation, respiration, it's kind of luminosity. And then awareness of the senses and the mind body, mental body we call it. And deeper than that, the wisdom body, where you could sense like the wisdom of your heart, the wisdom deeper than thoughts, the wisdom that's larger than you, includes you, but is not owned by you. And then what we call most deeply indwelling and pervading everything is Ananda. We call Anandamaya Kosha. With awareness of these multiple layers of who you are, all collaborating and infusing each other, please slowly bring your knees up to center and transition to a seat you can be comfortable in, as in meditation. Once you come up to sit, we're going to do just a very simple 3-breath pranayama. One breath will be through both nostrils, one will be through left only, one through right only. And the exhale, we're going to use the tiny cocktail straw exhale. At the very end of the 3rd breath, we're simply going to relax the belly. Let's begin with Ujjayi inhale through both nostrils. We'll hold the breath at the top. Then holding. Like a tiny cocktail straw, exhale. Close the right nostril. Inhale left side only. Holding. Like a tiny cocktail straw, exhale. Inhale right nostril. Holding the breath. Exhale, tiny cocktail straw. Release the belly. Allow the inhale. And then sit in quiet. This is our time for meditation. Meditation is considered even more powerful than pranayama. Pranayama more powerful than asana. Invite yourself to be undistracted, connected to the wisdom that is larger than you, and yet a wisdom that can permeate your life. Please bring your hands together at your heart. We can sing in call and response. Loka, Loka, Samasta, Samasta, Sukhino, Sukhino, Bhavantu, Bhavantu, Loka, Loka, Samasta, Samasta, Sukhino, Sukhino, Bhavantu, Bhavantu. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. We have this lovely time together, and we can imagine each other moving out into the world willing to have our thoughts change so we can be a part of changing the world.